Hey man, what up man? Friday, February 7th in the NBA. We've got a 7-game NBA slate. We're going to go game by game today. I'm going to give you a pick or a lean. And guys, hey, this slate is kind of crazy today, so be kind of careful. But you already know what we did yesterday. Back-to-back sweeps. Back-to-back sweeps. Another 2-0 day. In yesterday's video, gave out Rudy Gobert. The man continues to be a wagon for us. I told you without Julius Randle, he's going to eat. The man has been feasted. Pacers Clippers goes over. Hey, kind of a little sweaty, but it goes over with about a minute left, a minute and a half left in that game. But hey, 2-0 sweep up for the week. Keep on being in the green for the year. Let's keep on rolling, boys. Got a 7-game slate. Let's get to it. Now, in today's video, I don't have any best bets. You will not see any best bets from me in today's video, but please check the pinned comments. About middle of the day here, I will have some plays locked in. There are just a lot of injuries right now, a lot of trades where I don't know if these guys are going to be playing today or if they're going to sit out another game and maybe not debut until Saturday or Sunday. So a lot of uncertainty on who's playing, what's going on. But I am going to let you know what I'm looking at, what I will be potentially betting, and you will know exactly where my head will be at and what will potentially be the bets that will be added. But check the pinned comments later, man, because I will have one or two plays definitely in the pinned comment, so make sure to check it later if you're trying to tail the plays. Up for the week, let's keep on running it up. But the first game on the board, the San Antonio Spurs versus the Charlotte Hornets. I already posted in my Discord, man. I think this line is crazy here. I think this line is crazy. Spurs minus 10.5. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, Spurs aren't the better team. They are, but are they really that much better, guys? I mean, yes, they did beat the Hawks by 1 point. 1 point. Their offense looked great, put up a lot of points. But if you're looking over their last 15 games, man, they really have not been performing well. They in Paris, I've brought it up, in Paris they played well, against the Bucks played well, and then against the Hawks beat the Hawks by 1. I'm not jumping up and down today to play the Spurs minus 10.5. I think a lot, if you're looking on Pickett, if you're looking on a lot of apps or websites that track the percentage of money on a team, everyone's on the Spurs today. I definitely think the Spurs win. Let's not get it twisted. But LaMelo is questionable. LaMelo Ball is questionable in this game. In my opinion, it's almost just more of an over. I think you should almost take the over more than backing the Spurs. Now, I looked at this game and was like, yeah, I definitely think the Spurs win. But then I'm kind of looking at it. Hornets, they were just 10.5 point underdogs versus the Bucks. I consider the Bucks a better team than the Spurs. They just faced the Nuggets, the Hornets did. They were 12.5 point underdogs. I feel like to see the Spurs only 2 points less than them just seems like a little skewed, a little off. I feel like the Spurs should be like minus 8.5, minus 9 today. Now, a point difference, 1.5 isn't crazy, but just if I'm making the line in my head, that's where I'm at with it. I feel like this line's too steep for the Spurs today to where I don't want to take them, especially when I'm going and looking on some apps and websites that track who's on what team. Everyone's on the Spurs today. Everyone. So I think you got to be a little careful with this game now. Player props, I think, is a solid spot here you can take advantage of. I just still feel like I got to back De'Aaron Fox in some way. De'Aaron Fox points plus assists or just assists is going to be a wagon, I feel like, here for the Spurs with his first couple games because last game got up 20-plus shots. If he's going to get up and get 20-plus shots, I already like his points over. But last game didn't even get to the free throw line. Now, if you're looking at De'Aaron Fox's last 5 to 10 games, he's had some games recently not even getting him to the free throw line once. But if he gets up 18, 20 shots today, shoots 40, 45% and gets to the free throw line 6 to 8 times, he's hitting his over on points. I like his over on assists. He had like 18 or 20 assist chances in his first game there with the Spurs. So I like a lot of De'Aaron Fox there. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, you could even get creative today and take Spurs money line. Wemby 8 rebounds or 10 rebounds, double-double, and then De'Aaron Fox like 15 points. Like, I don't know. I mean, just where my head's at with it is the spread's too big. If LaMelo Ball comes back, I just kind of lean the over. If LaMelo Ball doesn't come back, I still feel like the Spurs are going to play at such a quick pace to where they could put up 120 points and then the Hornets just can't keep up with them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're looking at the Hornets last couple games, they just faced the Bucks, scored 102 points, 114 versus the Wizards. And in that game, Miles Bridges had a decent game. Every single role player that they needed to step up, stepped up. So it's like that's their peak, man, is 114 points right now. With no LaMelo and the team that they got out there, their peak points is probably 114. If they go score more than that today versus the Spurs, that's a problem with the Spurs. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, to where you have to hope that the Spurs put up some points for this over to hit. If LaMelo plays, usually their floor is about 110 points. So then I would be kind of more like in the over a little bit more. But still, man, just Got to wait on some injury news there with LaMelo, but that's kind of where my head's at. I'm being very careful with some of these teams that made big trades, just because I kind of want to wait and see. I'm not someone that likes to get too early, jump on it too early, and then something wonky happens. But hey, let's move on to the second game here. Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Wizards. This game's a crazy one. High spread, man. 17 and a half points. If you have been watching the videos, you know how I feel about these big spreads. I'm not huge on these big spreads. Now, I do see Donovan Mitchell is looks like he's going to be good to go. He is probable. Yeah, probable. I almost thought he was questionable, but probable to go. They're going to be fully healthy, man. Now, DeAndre Hunter, I don't know if he's playing today. He just got traded yesterday. Some of these guys that have been getting traded, they're kind of sitting out a game, and then they end up making their debut. So I don't know if he's going to play. Either way, I'm not big on DeAndre Hunter. I think that trade for him is it does not move the needle for me for the Cavs. Now, I know you see the Celtics hat. I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm not even trying to hate on the Cavs. I just genuinely think DeAndre Hunter playing in that Hawks offense very freely. They play very quick. Cavs do play very quick, but he's going to be like the fourth or fifth best option on the Cavs instead of being about the second or third. So, in my opinion, doesn't move the needle for me that much, because I think he's going to be really no different than what Caris LeVert gave you on a good game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Caris LeVert would sometimes give you 15 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, something like that. Like, I feel like that's the best you're probably going to get from DeAndre Hunter on a consistent basis. That's just my view on that trade. But for some player props in this game, man, I really just don't want to back anything. I mean, I really don't. I feel like Evan Mobley over 2.5 assists. I brought him up last game versus the Hawks. His assist was at 2.5. He went out there, or against the Pistons, excuse me. His assist was at 2.5, 3.5 at plus odds, and he crushed it. Now he's facing a team where his assist is at 2.5 again against a Wizards team. Now he has had some games going out there getting up big scoring games, or like 20 some points, and then not really hitting his assists. So be careful there. I just think this game, I don't like big spreads, so I'm not going to waste too much time on it. If you're liking a Wizards prop today, I don't know how they're getting blown up by like 30. I mean, you got to hope somebody just gets crazy volume or shoots wildly great tonight. And I'm not banking that. I'm banking on that with the Wizards. Third game here, Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I am seeing Brooklyn here 6-point underdogs, but they're kind of healthy right now. They are kind of healthy. If you are looking at their team, I mean, they do have, looks like Cam Johnson's going to be back. I mean, the only guy they're really missing that hasn't been out already for 20-some games, we already know Cam Thomas has been out, but Noah Clowney, he's about the only guy. But I've always been saying it, man. The Nets, when they're kind of fully healthy, or at least got D'Lo playing, Ben Simmons playing, Cam Johnson playing, like have 2 or 3 of those guys, they're in these games. They hang in with these games. Now, I'm still not a believer in the Heat. Heat have started to, not looking bad over their last couple games. They've been competitive, beating the Spurs by 2, losing to the Bulls, and then beating the 76ers, which I thought that win against the 76ers was a pretty good win. But in this spot, man, I feel like I almost do want to lean the Nets, but I just don't like the spread of plus 6.5. I really wish they would have disrespected them a little bit more, where you could have gotten it like plus 8, plus 8.5 today. So another spot where I'm not necessarily loving it. Bam Adebayo's point line's pretty high. I mean, I feel like Kel'el Ware, his point line's pretty low, but last couple games he's been very hot and cold. Like has big scoring game, like 17 plus points, or has like 6 or less. So be careful with him. In my opinion, just not a spot that I'm loving here. And I don't like backing a lot of Heat props. I'm not a big Tyler Hero guy. Maybe Tyler Hero RA today or something like that versus the Nets would be maybe a look. But total at 211. This Nets team plays so slow, man. So slow, and they are a sloppy team, man. They turn the ball over a lot. It would not surprise me if this total goes under, where the Nets barely score 90 points, but I gotta lean the over with them being kind of more healthy. I feel like Cam Johnson can get hot. I feel like they got a lot more guys that can kind of score consistently throughout the game. So I do lean the over 211 there. I think that he can also put up 110 some points. So 112 to 105 type final, I could see that happening there. So moving on, next game, Milwaukee Bucks versus the Atlanta Hawks. Milwaukee versus Atlanta here. Now, I do see Giannis is questionable. Giannis did miss last game. He is questionable now. I mean, I don't really know how to feel about this game with him being questionable. But Bucks did just trade Chris Middleton away. Obviously, no Chris Middleton. Kyle Kuzma. I don't see any type of news on Kyle Kuzma, at least on the websites that I'm looking at. Maybe on Twitter they would have something, but right now I don't know if he's playing. So Are they going to be down a guy or two? I mean, I feel like that relies a lot on Dame. Then I would kind of be more leaning Damian Lillard over points here. More than anything, I feel like in this game, especially if Kuzma doesn't play, I just feel like guards against the Hawks usually crush, and Damian Lillard's always had decent games versus Trae Young and the Hawks. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. That would probably be my favorite play in there if Giannis doesn't go. If Giannis does go, then maybe his assists. I feel like I love Giannis assists in games that I think they win, but I think are going to be close. That's usually where I'm at with this. I usually like Giannis assists. But for the Hawks, I just think Trae Young's everything for him's too high. Now, losing DeAndre Hunter, he could go out there and get up 25, 30 shots. Like, I don't know what his usage is going to be, but the man sometimes goes out there and just passes and passes and passes and passes and passes. So I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not backing Trae Young in this spot. There's just no way. The only Hawks player that I looked at that I was like, you know what, I can maybe see an over is Ricochet. And I'm probably butchering his name. Ricochet? Yeah, the rookie. You know who I'm talking about. He's about the only guy, and I say that because 3 of his last 4 games, he's scored 17 plus points in 3 of his last 4. When you are looking without DeAndre Hunter on the court, without Jalen Johnson on the court, his usage is the next highest behind Trae Young. Trae Young's always the highest usage on the Hawks, but then it's Ricochet without those guys, without DeAndre Hunter, without Jalen Johnson. Well, with Jalen Johnson being out and DeAndre Hunter getting shipped off to the Cavs, I feel like Ricochet could have a good spot, but he's not a consistent enough shooter for me, and it's just not a player I have backed this year at all. And right before the All-Star break, I just don't feel like backing a player like this. I would almost, like I told you guys, before the All-Star break here, I'm going to limit my plays to about 1 to 3, 4 plays max before the All-Star break here. You've seen it the last couple of days. We've only had 2 or 3 plays, and it's been paying off for us. I mean, we've been sweeping the board, having some good days. So I don't care if we go 2-0, 3-0, that's kind of where my head's at. If we're going to sweep the board here, I'm going to keep on rocking with a limited amount of picks. Ricochet is just not somebody I'm backing, but I do lean his over there. I even lean his over rebounds. So points, rebounds, lean all those over there. For the Bucks, lean Damian Lillard probably over the most. Total at 242. I feel like I gotta lean the under. I feel like that's too high of a total. I just don't know if the Hawks, without DeAndre Hunter, that's one of their most consistent scorers, unless if somebody off the bench just really starts having good games here. I just think that's a little too high. I would be more leaning the under there, but that's how I'm feeling about that Bucks-Hawks game. 3 more games to go over. We got the 76ers versus the Detroit Pistons. In this spot, it does look like Joel Embiid is going to play. So Joel is going to be playing here. They are kind of a little bit more banged up. Andre Drummond will be out of this game. Yabusele is also questionable, so maybe wait for some news on him. Malik Beasley looks like he is possibly questionable. Tobias Harris questionable. Cade Cunningham questionable. With these guys being questionable for the Pistons, I gotta wait and see what's going on. It does look like Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris are actually probable. But Cade Cunningham is questionable. That's the biggest name there for the Pistons. In my opinion, even with Embiid back, if Cade Cunningham does play for the Pistons tonight, I do like the Pistons. I think I lean the Pistons there. This year on the road, Joel Embiid 5-4 on the road, but some of these games, pretty close games, and the games that they've been beaten were against really, really bad teams. Really, really bad teams like the Nets. Just really bottom 5, bottom 10 teams. I think the Pistons are right in the middle of the league average right now, if not a little bit better with how they've been playing. They've been playing in some close games. Even the games that they're losing, very, very close. It seems like, at least over their last 2 against 2 really good teams, or against the Cavs. So in this spot, I lean the Pistons, but there are a lot of props in this game I'm leaning. If you saw the thumbnail today, thumbnail was Joel Embiid. I feel like Joel Embiid, I want to lean his under here, man. I really do. I feel like first game back from injury here, he was only supposed to play about 30 minutes is what Nick Nurse said. He was going to play like a 30 minutes max. He goes out there and plays 36. I feel like today they're going to limit his minutes in some way. I definitely don't see him going out there and playing 36 minutes again. I feel like he goes out there and plays probably around that 30-minute mark, if not less, especially if this game is halfway one-sided, to where I feel like I want to lean his under. But if you are looking at Joel Embiid on the road this year, he's kind of been smacking. He has been kind of smacking, but it would be a PRA under more than anything. But even then, he's had some good assist games versus the Pistons. The Pistons allow a lot of assists to the center. Rebounds, I mean, Embiid could have big rebounding games. He could have games where he gets 5 or 6 rebounds. It just kind of depends. Against Jalen Duren, I mean, he's had some good games here versus Jalen Duren. So Jalen Duren does like to hack a lot. He likes to foul a lot. So Embiid could get up to the foul line 10, 20 times today. I mean, it would not surprise me. So I do lean Embiid's under. mainly because I feel like last game played 36 minutes. He was only supposed to play about 30. I think today he does play a little bit less. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be on Embiid here because everything is telling you to take Embiid over. Everything. Game log versus the Pistons, away game log, just everything's telling you to take Embiid over. But after playing 36 minutes back on his first game, I feel like he's only going to play about probably 30 minutes or less today. So I think they kind of limit him a little bit more. So I'm leaning his under, but that's really the biggest reason. It's kind of more fading the public because I think everyone's going to be on him. Everything's telling you to take the over. And I don't think he plays 36 minutes, even 32 minutes today. Another guy I'm leaning under on, and it's for the Pistons. For the 76ers, is really just I lean Embiid under. I know that sounds crazy. But for the Pistons, Jalen Duren, I lean the under on him for PRA, for points plus rebounds, for points, for rebounds, everything I lean his under on. He really is a guy that can get in foul trouble pretty easily. Now, his rebound line today is a little low. I don't think I like his. I would almost rather take his point line under because his rebound line's at 9.5. It's Duren, man. I've seen Duren go out there and just grab 4 boards on 1 possession. So I don't really want to take his under because if you are looking, last couple games has been hitting this. 10 rebounds, 9 went under, 13, 10, 16. I feel like he's been hitting that. So I don't want to take his under there, but his points I do feel comfortable taking his under on because when you do look at Jalen Duren, he's not someone, if he's scoring, it's usually on putbacks, on offensive rebounds, or on lobs or like points right in the paint. Well, centers against Joel Embiid don't really score a lot, and the only time Jalen Duren's went over this versus Joel Embiid was like once in his career in about 4 or 5 games. And the one time that he went over, everyone was out for them. Like everyone was out. Jalen Duren got up 12 shot attempts. When do you see Jalen Duren really get up 12 shot attempts in a game? It's pretty rare that he's even getting up double-digit shot attempts. If he does, he's probably hitting this, but I just don't see it happening in this spot with them being basically fully healthy. They got everybody still healthy for them. As long as Cade goes, I think this point line, 12.5. He has had some monster games, but against the Hawks really bad in the interior. Bulls, one of the worst teams at allowing points in the paint. The Mavs with Daniel Gafford in his career, anytime he started for a team, that team instantly allows a lot of points in the paint. Against the Pacers, Jalen Duren always eats versus the Pacers. And then some games here against some decent teams like the Rockets, Suns, not bad, but 12.5, I do lean the under. I do lean the under pretty heavy there, just basically off the matchup right there against the Sixers. That's the biggest reason. Lean the Pistons, total at 226, man. I feel like I'm staying away from the total today. I don't have a good read on that total, but let's move on to the second to last game here. Toronto Raptors versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, another game that I'm just completely staying away from. I really do feel like this game could be a massive blowout today. I feel like Shea could drop another 50-point game. I'm not going to lie. I feel like anybody could drop a 50-point game in this game against the Raptors. Raptors, they're banged up, man. No RJ Barrett, no Jakob Poeltl. They got nobody right now. They just traded Davion Mitchell, who was their best defensive guard. They got nobody on defense. So I think this is a game I'm definitely leaning the over. I feel like the Raptors are going to try to play with the Raptors or with the Thunder here, just going to try to keep up with them. They got to. But I feel like the Thunder just score willy-nilly today, man. I feel like they're going to shoot 60%. As long as they're not just relying on jump shots every single second of the game. I do love that Thunder defense. I do think their Thunder defense is good to where they could limit the Raptors to 90 points today. But I really do feel like the Raptors are going to have enough scoring with Scotty Barnes, with Emmanuel Quickley, with some other guys. Grady Dick can still shoot the ball pretty well. I still think they're going to have some scores, but I also do think Thunder just put up 130-some points. So just really would need the Raptors to put up 105, 110, and hope they get it done there. That's kind of how I'm feeling. But no heavy leans on player props. I don't like taking player props in big spread games there like that. But I can't even lean the Thunder. I just feel like that's a huge spread. Obviously, I think they win. If they lose, that'd be the biggest upset of the season. But more just lean the over. I just more lean the over there. Last game on the board, the Utah Jazz versus the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix about 9-point favorites here. We don't know if KD is going. Everything towards KD is showing me that he is questionable. KD's questionable. Maybe that changes how you feel. But for the Jazz, they are going to be without Colin Sexton. They're going to be without Jordan Clarkson. Everybody else kind of relatively healthy, though. They're going to have Keontae George. They're going to have Lauri Markkanen. They're going to have John Collins. They're going to have Walker Kessler. I don't like to see the Suns almost 10-point favorites here, but this is another spot. If you just heard me talk about the Jazz Warriors a couple nights back, in this matchup, just how the Warriors owned the Jazz before the Jazz just beat them, the Suns own the Jazz. The Suns have beat the Jazz in 9 of the last 10 games. A lot of these games, not even really crazy, like uncompetitive. Like Jazz lost by 8, Jazz lost by 8, Jazz lost by 8, Jazz lost by 14, Jazz lost by 3 in overtime, Jazz lost by 3. Some of these games of their last 7, all pretty close. I feel like the Jazz could stay in this game, but also it is the Jazz, man. I'm not huge on the Jazz. A guy I'm going to bring up, if you think this game is going to be close, Lauri Markkanen. I know we get some comments on people not liking Lauri Markkanen, but without Colin Sexton, without Jordan Clarkson, that was probably a big reason why you'll see over his last 4 or 5 games he's been going under, because the Jazz have been, everyone's been healthy. Now with those guys being injured, when you do go look at graphs with Lauri Markkanen without Jordan Clarkson and a game within 15, 12 points, he's usually hitting this a lot better than when everyone is healthy. You know what I'm saying? So when everyone's healthy, Lauri Markkanen at 17, 18, 19, 20 and a half points, usually not a great line. But with some guys being injured, I do lean as over. I lean as over, but you already know I can't take it, man. I just can't take it. Probably my best, most favorite lean in this game is probably Nick Richards. Nick Richards here, but I feel like his line's moving a little bit. His point line, 8.5 at minus 130. I really hope that drops to 8.5. That's why I have not taken it, because I feel like he has not even been coming sniffing this. His last like 5-6 games hasn't even been hitting this, even close. But against the Jazz, I like the spot. I like his rebounds today as well. I like a lot of Nick Richards today, points plus rebounds, even PRA, if he comes out with a PRA line. I even like a sprinkle on his double-double. So look at Nick Richards today. That's probably one of my favorite props on the board today. If you're making me pick one prop on the board today out of every game that I've looked at, that's probably one of the best that I would want to take today, along with possibly Embiid under. I know Embiid under is a risky play, man. Risky play. And Durant under points. Those are probably my top 3 props on the board today, along with other games that you just got to wait for some injury news. Like Damian Lillard. If Giannis doesn't go, I like his points. I think he's going to get up the volume there against the Hawks. Like there's just some guys you just got to wait on some injury news. But to recap just that last game, I think my favorite prop would be probably Nick Richards for the Suns. Even if KD doesn't go with the Jazz, I kind of lean the Jazz on the spread there at +9, +8.5, depending on what it is at this time of the video. And then the total at 233. I can't do it with the Jazz at 233, man. I can't do it there. I don't love the total. It's kind of like that other game earlier with 76ers Detroit, just didn't have a good lean towards the total. There's a couple other totals today I like a little bit more. Honestly, there's 3 or 4 other totals I like more. So, hey, that is the 7-game NBA slate. Like I said, check the pinned comment later, because I am going to have at least 2 plays pinned down there. Probably either a spread, a total, and then probably 1 player prop. That's kind of where my head's at. I already let you know in this video some guys that I'm looking at. So if you like them and you're like, hey, I don't care if he locks them in officially or not, I'm taking them. Hey, lock it in. But let me know down in the comments if you're vibing with any of these games today. Let me know how you're feeling about this slate, man, because this slate is kind of low-key garbage with just a lot of big spreads. Maybe some underdogs today, or, hey, our little dark horses. But let me know how you're feeling about this slate in the comments. Not my favorite, but, hey, we'll be back here tomorrow. Let's sweep again today. Make sure to check the pinned comment. Make sure to drop a like on this video. Make sure to hit the sub button. We're running up the YouTube journey over here. Let's keep on running it up, man. Let's keep on stacking on to our 2025 gain, man. Let's keep on rolling. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, and let's go.